Hi guys, this is Christian from firstwebdesigner.com with a new video tutorial on basic HTML5 and CSS3 coding. What you have on the screen right here is a preview of what we are going to create today. It's a basic pricing table with some transitions. As you can see, whenever you hover on one of the tables, it scales up. And this is quite easy to create for us if you've been following my previous tutorials here on the website, because we're not going to use so many things. However, when coming to CSS3, we're going to use some new things that you might not have heard of, although I wrote about them in the CSS3 introductory article. But today you're gonna see exactly how they work. It's much easier to represent something visually than using words. So this is what we're gonna have by the end of this tutorial. So let's just jump into the tutorial with the HTML, which, as always, we start with the same header. You probably already know this by now. We wrote it lots and lots of times. So we start with the meta char set in the head, which is UTF-8. Then we want to link the style sheet. It's called style.css. And then we want to give this a title, let's say CSS3 pricing tables. That's the header, and we can already start creating the body, which is gonna be easy to do because everything that you just saw is enclosed in a single a class, which we're gonna call price. So let's say div class equals price. You can call it whatever you feel like calling it. Um, and here in this um, class, there's gonna be unordered lists. Every table that you saw in the preview is actually a list element, or a list. It's a list of its own with several elements. So we're gonna create this unordered list, and here we're gonna come with list elements. Let's say light, $20, one subdomain, and let's say no security. And this list you can actually copy twice, and let's say here standard and premium, $40, $60, two subdomains, three subdomains, let's say enhanced security, and here heavy security, and let's say this is a trademark, hashtag 0153, I think it is. And if we go to preview, this is what we have right now. This is a list with this is three different lists with the same amount of list elements into it. And sure, the preview that you saw had lists which were a bit which had more elements, but it's the same as you have here. The principle is the same, which means that we can actually move on CSS right now. And we're gonna do it by starting to style the body. Let's give it a width of 650, a margin of 0 auto, height, it's automatic, and then let's say a margin top of 200 pixels. Great, so now it's centered, and and has a decent margin on top. And now we start styling the only class that we have. Actually, I might want to go back to HTML because I forgot something. I forgot to include the buy button. In the preview there was a buy button, but it's still a list element. Only this in this list element is a link, and we're gonna give it a class called buy now. Yes, and here we're gonna call it buy now, and we're gonna close the link, and this we're gonna copy it twice as well. And we're gonna go in preview. Now we have a link here, the buy now button, which we're gonna style a bit later. So we get back to CSS now. Let's add to this whole class a border of 1 pixel solid, and what else? A border radius 4 pixels, and again, as I taught you in the previous tutorials, you always need 2 vendor prefixes. You can use more. You can use a vendor prefix for Opera. However, in the future, Opera will in the close future, Opera will be built on WebKit, so this vendor prefix is gonna work for Opera as well. But you might as well write it for Opera too if you feel like. I generally don't. This one is the vendor prefix for Opera, but I'm just gonna delete it from here right now. And let's float it to left and see how it looks. Looks okay, I think. Let's add an outline of 5 pixels and let it be solid. Great, so now as you can see you have this outline here, and that's pretty much everything only for the class, but now for the class called price. But now we need to go and style the list, and we don't want any bullets, so list style none. We want it to flow to the left. Let's give it a width of 180 pixel. I don't know if that's gonna be big or small, but we're gonna see. No margin. We want them to be close to each other. Let's say a padding of 10 pixel. Align the text to the center. No need background color. Let's look at it. Okay, so they look quite okay right now. I think we might want to add a border to it of 1 pixel. Let it be a solid of the same color as the outline is, a gray. Great. I think it looks better now. And now let's go and style the list elements. But first, let me write here price UL hover and get back to it later because we're gonna work with that too. But I usually just organize them like that. So let's go to list elements right now. It looks like that. Lists look like that right now. We're gonna add some border under each list element, a bit of a padding, and work a bit with the font size, I think. So let's say a border only at the bottom actually of 1 pixel. Let's make it dashed. I might get a gray. Let's give it a padding top bottom of 10 pixel and none to the sides. And let's say a font size of 13 pixels. It should work. Okay. Looks okay, I think. But I feel that light, standard, and premium that should be titled. Because there are titles, they should look a bit different. So Now we're gonna use the first new element that we never used before, which is first child, and we're gonna see exactly what it does. For now, let's only say font size 16 pixels and font weight bold. So as you can see, what this does, it works, what first child does, it works with every first list element. If we go back to HTML, every list, this is the list, this is a list, and the last one is also a list. Every first element of the list, so this one, and this one will be affected by, or will be styled by this first child as well, and it works as well with the last child, and I think we might use it a bit later. So instead of first, you can say last, and it will obviously work with the last child element, which in our case would be the buy now button. But we're gonna get to that as well. Let's see how it looks and what we can do more. Let's actually change the color of the title as well, but let's use something else this time. Only for normally I would just write it here, but because I want to teach you something new, we're gonna do it in a different way, and we're gonna say nth child 1, and let's say color. Let's make it a blue. Okay, so as you can see now, it's blue. What this nth child does, it works with again with the list, with all the lists under the class called price, and it will style all the elements, all the list elements with number 1. For example, if we write 3 here, as you can see, it'll style this because this is the third element of a list. So we can go back here and say 5, and you'll see it will style the buy it now button. Oh, it'll not, because it's a link. So it should be made for the links. But if we go back here, it'll style the security field. So as you can see, it works with the element of which number you choose. So let's say an nth child first, and we're gonna go back here, and it's gonna style the title. What else can we do? We can maybe work a bit with the price. So we're gonna copy this, and instead we're gonna say nth child 2, and let's say a font size of 15 pixel and font weight, let's make it bold. Great, I think it looks much better now. If I look at it, I don't like the fact that under the last list element there's this dashed border on the bottom. So I would like to go here and write price ULLI, and we're gonna work with the last child this time, because the buy now button is the last child of the list, and we're gonna say border bottom none, and that works just fine. But I don't like the fact that there's this space here which is bigger than on top. So let's say height of 30 pixels. That's too big. 20 pixels. Let's say 5 pixel. No, that's too small. Yes, 10 pixel looks fine. So as you can see, the space on top is pretty equal to the space on the bottom. We could do the same here if we want to, but if it's on top, it's no problem from a visual point of view, but on the bottom it doesn't look too good. So what else we want to do now? We want to get to this buy now button, and style it. And as you can see here in the HTML, we called this link by now. We call the class of this link by now. So we're gonna come down here and style by now. Let's add a border radius of 1 pixel to it, just for the sake of having a border radius, and keep the style of from before. For Mozilla, vendor prefixes, yes. Let's say a padding of 10 pixel, margin 5 pixel top bottom, and 0 to the side. Now nothing changes because the background color is white, but let's say background color, and let's use the blue that we used in the title, and that's how it looks right now. We want to modify the color of the text because now you can't read much, so let's make it white, much better. And let's display it as a block. You're gonna see what this is gonna do. It's gonna make it as a block on the full width of its parent list element. Now I can see that where this height is definitely not enough. Let's say 30 pixel, or maybe 35 or 40. We'll see. Yeah, 35 is okay. So looks quite okay right now. I don't think there's much more to do from the style point of view, but we can go back to the style sheet, and you can see here we said we're gonna come back to the hover. You know, when you saw the preview, whenever you hover on the on a list element, or not on a list element but on a list of itself, it's scaled up, and that's what we're gonna do now. First we're gonna, well, I would like to add the transition first, so let's say transform, and we're gonna use something called scale 1.1. This means that whenever we hover on the list, it's gonna transform in such a way that it's gonna get bigger by 10% because it's 1.1. And again, very important, vendor prefixes for WebKit and Mozilla, and let's see if it works. It works, but it doesn't look too good, and this is because although the list gets bigger, you cannot see where its borders are. So we will go here and add a box shadow to it. And let's say 0 pixel all the way until here. RGBA, and there's usually for a gray there's 0, 0, 0, and 0.7, which is written like that. And now we want again to add those annoying vendor prefixes. It's annoying that you have to add them all the time, but you're gonna have to get used to it. And now, as you can see, it's much easier to see where the margins are. Yes, let's go now back here and add some, just for the sake of having them. Then to be a bit bigger. If I go to the list in the style sheet and say background color white, as you can see, this changes something because the background color was transparent here. You see, you weren't able, you're able to see it here. The background color is transparent. So if you say that you want the background color to be white, you're not gonna be able to see the borders underneath it anymore. And this looks quite okay, I think. Is there more to it? Don't think there is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have any more. Um, you can play a lot with the style and so on. You can do it on your own, but the functionality is pretty much done, and you can get to use this right away. So that was today's tutorial on CSS3. Basically, we learned how to create this CSS3 pricing table. Very easy to create, and if you go back to the style sheet, we learned to use the first child and last child elements plus the nth child elements, and that's something that we didn't use before. And you also learn to use the scale, which is something that we didn't use before either. And you can play with this on yourself for yourself if you want to. Next time, what's gonna happen next time? We're gonna get a bit more into CSS3 for mobile phones, because until now we focused a lot on solutions for desktop. But what we're gonna create next time, I'm not gonna tell you what's gonna be, but I'm telling you that it's something that can be used on mobile phones where you need space, or where you don't have space and you need to make a better use of it, of the small space you have. There's something that can be used on desktop as well, but it's predominantly used on mobile. So that's pretty much where we're gonna focus on next time. And until then, I hope you learned something new from this tutorial. I want to mention that I am very happy about the feedback you offer me in the last 3-4 tutorials that I did, and I'm excited to continue delivering these tutorials for you on firstwebdesigner.com if the feedback is so positive. So thank you again, and thank you for watching and listening, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Bye.